Travolting presents The Fraser's Edge. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering Inkheart with special guest M.G. Schumann.
Once upon a time,
I felt like I could read this movie like a
magical land
Oh,
far
God.
away. There were two boys who made a podcast. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's happening? Oh my God, microphones are sprouting from the table. We're recording something. It's like what I'm reading is coming to life.
There was a boy named Stuart who was damned.
Who had a Red Bull addiction,
that was damned
vape.
every week
nicotine addiction.
to come and talk about fucking John Travolta.
And now Brendan Fraser.
And now Brendan Fraser. It's true.
Yes.
Yeah, folks, this week we're talking about Inkheart.
Hello.
And welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, guys.
This will be your fourth appearance.
This is my
You're
fourth.
approaching the Tilly Club.
I'm approaching the Tilly Club.
It's
Yep.
a big move.
Yes, unfortunately.
Hunting for it.
It was not on purpose.
By complete accident.
It was a complete accident.
Fiercely racing for that title. Clawing and swinging away.
You were an early book for this show.
I was.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of our first
And
guests.
you slocked on what's slocked? That's not a word. You locked on to Inkheart pretty
Yes.
quick.
Yes. Not because of the movie, but because I love the book. And I said, this will be a fun excuse for me to reread the book, which I did really enjoy. However, I did not enjoy the film adaptation.
Inkheart movie we are unfortunately here to talk about.
Yes.
today. This movie asks a very bold question. What if a movie was boring? It asks the question no one has dared to ask before.
So boring.
Yeah.
And yet it's like I really feel like the whole movie they were really, because the book it's a long book. It's like, and I promise I will not do the thing where I talk about the book the entire time. Like they're two different things. I
It might be
understand
more
whatever.
interesting than the movie.
But it is more interesting than the movie. But it's a very long book, and there's action in it, obviously. But like, action is not the word I would use to describe the book. Like,
Yeah.
there's action happening. But I feel like the movie was like, in order for this to be interesting, we have to skip all of like the character growth, whatever. Just show the action.
Yeah.
But yet, it was so boring.
Yeah. Like a lot happens in this
A
book,
lot
but nothing
happens,
happens.
but nothing happens. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure, Jeff, I know you're going to pull up you're going to tell us what happened.
The context of this movie.
Yeah, because I can barely remember what happened in the movie.
So, okay, I think I found something now. I've been trying to look up a some type of a list that, because tell me how you guys feel about this. I feel like, especially when Inkheart came out in 2009, right? The movie.
Yeah.
We were in the middle of quite a few like young adult fantasy book
Yeah.
to movie adaptations.
Totally.
No.
My first thought goes to Aragon. That
Which is bad, too.
amazing, successful movie that spawned many sequels in a fruitful franchise.
I want to say two things. First of all, the end of Aragon's the funniest ending of all time because it's John Malkovich swinging his sword, cutting an egg open, and dragging him. And then they never made a sequel.
Yeah, they never made a sequel to that one.
But the second thing is this does play very much into the context of this movie.
Yeah.
So the book Inkheart's written in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And in a second, I'll ask for just like what the book is about before
Sure.
we go really into what the movie's about.
Sure.
But a thing happens around the same time this book comes out. And it's that there's a sudden blast of two major successful fantasy movie franchises based on books. Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter both start in 2001.
Yeah.
Both mega successes.
Yeah.
Harry Potter makes almost $1 billion, as does Lord of the Rings. But those are finite. Lord of the Rings, there's 3 of them. They eventually make the Hobbits a decade later. And similar thing with Harry Potter. Like, they get a decade of mileage out of it, but eventually it has to end. And so there kind of turns into this arms race of who can get the next Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Disney tries to make the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yes, that
There's
was
the
the other one.
Spiderwick Chronicles. There's
books.
Aragon. All of these movies that a lot of them don't get sequels. Narnia gets 2 sequels somehow. But it's just it's
Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson kind of comes at the end of it.
This is a year later. This is the first Lightning Thief
is it?
is 2010.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Percy Jackson will count that in.
Yeah.
But it's this full arms race among all the studios to figure out what can be the next big Harry Potter like book to film adaptation fantasy franchise. And that's where Inkheart comes into the mix. Because the first one was a pretty respectful seller. It got 2 written sequels, Ink Spell and Ink Death. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I've never read the sequels.
Okay.
I never read
My
the sequels.
mom read all 3 of them,
Okay.
which is the only reason I know that the sequels have names. Or that I know their names, I should say.
I actually wrote notes on this movie.
Wow. This is a big move for Stuart.
Oh, Stuart.
Stuart's writing again. Stuart's using his language.
What? Jeff, are you using your language?
I'm struggling. But yeah, that's and so 2 sequels are in for this, so it's very much like a viable franchise. You can get 3 movies out of this. And each one makes a decent profit. You have a tidy little, a little take home there.
Mm-hmm.
And so Cornelia, is it Funk or Funke?
I don't know how to
I'm
pronounce
gonna say
it.
Funke because it's funnier.
Okay, cool.
Cornelia Funke.
She's German.
Sells the rights of this book to Warner Brothers, who did make Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, for what it's worth. So they have a pretty good track record so far. The track record does run out. And she sells the rights to this book, and she actually has involvement in the creation of this movie. She produces it and helps consult with casting and whatnot. And that's where Brendan comes into the mix.
Yeah.
Because when she wrote this book, she sent a signed copy of it to Brendan Fraser in the mail.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay.
And here's Brendan's quote about the topic. He says, I get this book. It shows up in the mail. Dear Brendan, it's inscribed. Thank you for inspiring this character.
Oh.
Mo was inspired by Brendan Fraser.
I did not know this.
He then said, I can feel my leg getting pulled already. What? Where's Ashton Kutcher? I hope that you get a chance to read this aloud to your kids one day. Best wishes, Cornelia Funke. I had no idea from a bar of soap who she was, so I Googled her. Wow, so much work. She's prolific. I think part of the story is that a little girl who is bilingual, I think she was a Brit, but she spoke German fluently, had discovered a copy of Tinterhers, which she loved and read, and wrote to either it was Cornelia or the publisher, and asked, why isn't this published in English? And I think Cornelia probably wanted to know the answer to that question, too. So once it just became a snowballing thing, and it really got her out there and led to the acclaim and popularity of her work. So Brendan Fraser just got a random book in the mail called Inkheart, and it said, thank you for inspiring this character.
That's so fascinating. Okay.
And so because of that, when they go into casting of the movie, very obviously he's the first call.
Yeah.
And he says yes, because as we've talked about, he's kind of in a very low point in his career right now.
Okay.
Last week we covered Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which is kind of a desperation movie.
Yeah.
Because all of his attempts, start a new franchise, your Monkey Bones, your Looney Tunes, your Journey to the Center of the Earth, they all haven't been doing well for him. Journey was a success, but he's not in the sequel. He's not doing well with new franchises. The Mummy, he goes back to that well for the 3rd time for very diminishing returns. People are not a fan of The Mummy 3. And so he's kind of just like, he's not really getting any offers in the dramatic space. He's not really finding success in the action space. His career is kind of at a standstill. And this is almost like a Hail Mary lifeline to him. It just happens to be that he was the inspiration for the book character. I don't think he gets cast in this if not for that factor.
Yes, I would agree.
If she wrote the book inspired by Harrison Ford, who's now too old to play the role, Brendan Fraser does not get cast in this movie.
Yeah.
Someone else gets cast in this movie. Someone who's like up and coming at the time.
Right.
He gets very lucky with this. Lucky, quote unquote, with this. Because all this being said, I don't think he's very good in this movie.
No, he's not. That's like, it's so fascinating to me that supposedly he was the inspiration for this character, because the whole movie I was watching this and just being like, I think that this is terrible casting and I don't think he's good in this role. I don't believe him in this role.
It plays against every single thing he's good at as an actor. In
and you can
a
speak more to
franchise
that than
sense.
I can, but I just like, Yes.
Going from like, how's this character described in the book?
Yeah. So I would say, you asked earlier, like, what is the book about? And it's a very long book and there's lots of themes and whatever. But like at the core of the book is the relationship between Mo and Maggie, right? It's the father and the daughter.
Yeah.
And Mo is this very interesting character, in that he's a very soft sort of person. He's a dad who is very protective. He's very soft, but he's also very secretive. That kind of that classic dad trope where you're like not telling them everything because you're trying to protect them. And he's also he's very empathetic to the other people in the story, and even the people like Dustfinger, who is like, the way they did Dustfinger in the movie, they messed that whole thing up, but whatever, it's fine. We don't have to get into that. But
I think we will.
We can. Okay. But like he is, and I feel like in the movie he feels more angry towards Dustfinger, whereas in the book he's very like holds a lot of guilt. He holds a lot of guilt for what happened, and a lot of he has a lot of empathy, and he is a person who is very, there's a lot of things happening clearly inward, and we don't get into that because like we don't get to see what's going on completely, obviously, because the book is from Maggie's point of view.
Is it?
It is. It's from Maggie.
That's very interesting.
It's from Maggie's point of view. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's from Maggie's point of view. So, which I think that was a whole huge change, because that's not what the movie really did at all. So yeah, there's a lot going on there, but he's just like, he's this very soft dad. And like to her, like even learning that he has all these secrets, and like, that's such a big thing for her, because he's this dad who's like very present with her, very kind, very loving, very, very there, like feels very present to her, until she starts to learn like, oh yeah, he's been there, but there's been many things that he's been keeping from me.
And reading the book, who do you like? Do you envision someone in your head for this guy?
I'm not usually like when I'm reading, I'm not somebody who's like really like picturing specific people, but I will say, and I don't know if they specify, I'm sure like obviously she had Brendan in her mind, so she must have been thinking of a dad who was a little bit younger, but because of that energy that I'm talking about, that softness, like to me he felt like an older kind of character. Like he felt older. So to me, Brendan, like that definitely was not what I was picturing. I was more like little tiny, like sort of older dad with like tiny little glasses on, like that's kind of what I was picturing. So it definitely wasn't Brendan.
Something that another movie comes out around a similar time as this that I think also makes a fatal casting decision. And it's the Da Vinci Code. I'm not gonna now.
This is a very strange segue, Jeff.
Because
I thought, who was in the Da Vinci
I'm gonna get
Code?
to a point here. The Da Vinci Code is kind of like a nightmare book, but the character in that is very much written as like Indiana Jones if he was a lot more scholarly. Like,
what are you saying about Indiana Jones?
No, like if he didn't go out and beat up people.
I'm kidding.
If he didn't go out and shoot Nazis and whatnot. Like if it was just all the scenes in Indiana Jones where he's in the school.
Basically, Doctor Who-eyes him.
Kind of.
In the sense that Doctor Who's like heroic, smart, intelligent, but not like a fighter.
Yeah.
He uses
Like
brains.
it's Indiana Jones if it's only the scenes when he's in the university talking to Marcus Brody and whatnot. And they cast Tom Hanks in that movie as Robert Langdon. And it is very poor casting. I mean, those movies aren't good in general. Neither is this. But Tom Hanks doesn't fit the mold of that character. He's like almost too kindly, which is the Tom Hanks thing, to play this kind of harder edged character. I honestly think if you put Tom Hanks in this role as Mo, and you put Brendan Fraser in the role,
I think Tom Hanks is like the perfect vibe of what I was thinking
as Robert Langdon. Yeah, I think both those movies get a lot better.
Yeah,
well, not a lot better necessarily, but the casting makes a lot more sense.
Yeah,
Jeff, not to go back to an earlier point, it was just something that kind of spiraled on, which was like the whole trend of like the young adult fantasy novel adaptation era. I pulled up 8
Yes.
in a 4-year time span.
Yes.
Just alone already.
Ooh.
Chronicles of Narnia in 2005, Aragon in 2006, Golden Compass in 2007,
I forgot about the fucking Golden
City of
Compass.
Ember in 2008, Stardust in 2007, The
I like
Spiderwick
Stardust.
Chronicles in 2008, The Seeker, The Dark is Rising in 2007, Percy Jackson in 2010, and then I have The Sorcerer's Apprentice in 2010.
You know what the one good one of those is? Stardust. Because
Stardust.
Robert De Niro
Love
plays a
Stardust.
space captain.
Stardust fucking rocks. Okay, can I say something? Not all books, and I am not one of those people who is like the books, and I love books. I work in a bookstore. But I'm not one of those people who's always like the book's always better. I don't think that. I think they're different. They're different things, and like
Yeah.
right. But some books just should not be movies.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those other ones are just some of them.
Yeah.
Even if they're gonna make money, some of
'Cause,
them
like,
just should not be.
I feel
movies.
like Inkheart the book is a book about the
Reading.
magic of books.
It's about the
Yes.
magic of books. It's about books.
And then
That
like-
was my Letterboxd review. Was like a really good book about books didn't make a good movie. Shocker.
Yeah.
like it's a book about books.
Because even the parts in this where they do like reference other books.
Yeah.
Like the whole Wizard of Oz stuff.
Which is not. I want to know what they were obsessed with. Wizard of Oz. There's no Wizard of Oz references in the book.
You know what they're referencing? They're referencing the Wizard of Oz movie.
They're not even
Like
referencing
they're using
the
the
book.
visuals of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just like it
Yeah.
defeats the whole purpose of the book.
Yeah.
There is one part where they summon a character from a book that I really want to talk about because of how dicey I thought it was about to
Fareed?
get. What?
Is it Fareed?
What?
The one from Arabian Nights.
Isn't Nick Kazim? No, it is Fareed. You're right.
Yeah.
He's talking about someone else named Kazim.
Oh.
But no, we're going to talk about this when we get to it because I was like, oh my god, I thought he was about to say something really dicey. I was getting real fucking worried.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I thought the first Chronicles of Narnia was actually okay.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
First
like-
Chronicles of Narnia is fine.
Prince
It's fine.
Caspian, little underrated.
No,
I agree. I love
think-
Ben Barnes. So
Yeah. Prince Caspian was actually kind of like, I'm basing my whole D&D campaign off of Prince Caspian, essentially.
I think I like those movies.
yeah, no, they're fine.
The Dawn Treader, that one is not.
The Dawn Treader is very weird.
That's a very weird, confusing
That's a
movie.
story of rights, in which Disney didn't want to make anymore, so they got rid of it, and then Fox picked it up and made that movie for cheap.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton is still in it. She insisted upon constantly reappearing in those movies as the White
Liam
Witch.
Neeson's the Lion, right?
Aslan, yeah.
Yeah.
No, those the first two movies are pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the they're pretty good. I'm not gonna go into it more.
Aragon was so I watched the movie before I read the book, and then I read the first two books, Aragon and Eldest. I never made it past Eldest. It is so insane to think that not only did they end it in a way of a cliffhanger, expecting there to be a sequel and one didn't come out, but the way that the final battle ends in the movie is complete 180 degrees backwards of how it actually ends in the book. Like multiple people die, one person gets kidnapped, and but at the end, the final shot is you see all these people still alive in the battlefield, and I'm like, how do you fucking spot a sequel off of this movie? It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Bill Murray is in City of Ember, by the way. Have you seen
Is
the
he?
movie?
I haven't seen it. I read the book, but I've never seen the movie.
He
I'm
plays
looking
the
up
greedy
City
mayor.
of
This
Ember
is,
right now.
and I know where I don't want to keep harping on this, but this era of the YA book to movie adaptation, it's really interesting because so many of these I didn't even know existed, and I read the books. Inkheart, I read that book. I love that book. I had no idea this movie existed. City of Ember, I didn't know they made a movie. It's like they were making too many that I didn't even know that they were.
It was a floodgate.
Yeah, it was too much.
And
That you're not even getting which it doesn't matter because they weren't good anyway, so who cares? The fans wouldn't have liked them, but it's you weren't even getting all the fans and
Right. Well, and the
in there to
trend,
watch them.
I listed all the ones that I thought sort of counted more into the fantasy realm. It
Yeah.
really doesn't end, because then even in the 2012 and onward, you get the Maze Runner,
Yeah.
the Hunger
Hunger
Games,
Games.
Yeah,
Twilight.
that whole Twilight. Yeah, that whole.
That's when it's like, okay, maybe we can't adapt like the medieval franchise one. What else can we do?
What else can we
Sexy
do?
vampires. that'll make
Hell
it work.
yeah.
That'll make it work for us guys.
Hell
and
yeah.
you know what? It did.
I'm looking. City of Ember, interesting cast.
Who's in City of Ember?
I'm gonna line this up for you.
Okay.
This movie stars Saoirse Ronan,
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Bill
very young
Bill
Saoirse
Murray,
Ronan.
Okay.
Martin Landau, Toby Jones, and Tim Robbins.
Who's Toby Jones? I don't know who that is.
He's the voice of Dobby in Harry Potter.
Okay. Sure.
Which is, I'm just gonna tell you.
I hate Dobby.
No, it's important that you know.
Hot take.
It's important that you know that's what his voice is like, because I'm about to show you a picture of Toby Jones.
Okay. Oh
yeah. It's
okay.
a guy
Wow.
from Winter Soldier who turns into the computer
That's
guy.
a big forehead.
Yeah. I am a big Toby Jones stan.
Got it.
I love Toby Jones. He's in the new Indiana Jones, and I screamed when I found out.
Got it. We'll love that for you. I can't think of any. Yeah, I don't like Dobby.
Yep.
That's all I have to say.
Dobby, I'm glad he's dead.
I'm literally glad he's dead. I cheer.
Jesus Christ.
I hate him. He's so annoying.
Saoirse Ronan, I really quickly want to diverge on right now because I'm looking.
This is Lovely Bones era Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan, queen of the bad book adaptation. Here's her
Yeah,
run.
you're
no,
right.
Here's her run.
Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
What else?
Here's the Saoirse Ronan run.
She's
Okay.
in a lot of them.
City of Ember,
Okay.
The Lovely Bones.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was not a good
The
adaptation.
Host.
Oh, bet. Yeah. Yeah.
Like she's in other things in between, but in terms of big movies, back to back to back, like big adaptations.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Damn.
And people think, oh, look at this lovely new actress that we're getting introduced to in Lady Bird. Like, get the fuck out of here.
If you weren't there for the Lovely Bones.
Man, I really see Saoirse Ronan. Now she's doing Little Women. Oh, my God.
Sure. Have you ever seen The Lovely Bones, Peter Jackson's
Yes.
Yeah.
movie? Do you know the Ryan Gosling story from that movie?
There's a Ryan Gosling story.
Oh, I
So
don't know this
Mark
story.
Wahlberg plays the
Ryan-
dad in that movie.
Yes.
I was going to say,
unfortunately.
like, I didn't think Ryan Gosling was in Lovely
Ryan
Bones.
Gosling was originally cast in that role
As the dad or the
as the
serial
dad.
killer?
As the dad. And Peter Jackson was very excited to have Ryan Gosling playing the dad. And then Ryan Gosling went out and decided, he read the book and he's like, I got to really get in the headspace of this character. I think this guy would just like be a wreck after this. So he went out and he gained like 30 pounds of just eating ice cream and pies to try and get in the like physicality of what he imagined this character being like.
Okay.
And then he showed up to his fitting. And Peter Jackson's like, what the fuck did you do? Why did you do that? And he's like, I thought this is what the character looked like. He's like, no, that's not what the character looks like at all. And fired him from the movie.
Oh my
God.
God.
So Ryan Gosling basically just went out and ate ice cream for 3 months.
Honestly, good for him.
I love Ryan Gosling
That happened.
so much.
Didn't
What
that
a
happen
king.
to another actor that we talked about? How they were cast in a role and they gained a lot of weight for it, and then they were fired or something like that.
That happened to Joe Pesci for
Joe
Gotti.
Pesci and Gotti. That's
For
right.
the original
God.
Gotti. Oh no, he gained 60 pounds.
Ryan Gosling did?
Yeah. Here it is.
Are there
Holy.
photos? Are there photos? There's got to be
Here you go.
paparazzi publicity photos of him.
Gosling. We had a different idea of how the character should look. Gosling told the Hollywood Reporter, I really believed he should be 210 pounds. Jackson
my
disagreed and
God.
dropped Gosling days before production began.
Holy shit. That's
We
so
didn't talk
funny.
very much during the pre-production process, which is the problem.
That's
Clearly.
pretty clear.
Gosling said, it was a huge movie and there's so many things to deal with, and he couldn't deal with actors individually. I just showed up to set and I had gotten it wrong. Then I was fat and unemployed.
Oh my
Gosling,
God.
I'm right there with you, man.
That's king behavior. I love it. Are you guys It's Always Sunny people?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. I'm just Jeff. No.
I've seen some episodes.
I'm just do you know Fat Mac when
Yes.
he gets fat? And
Yes.
that's exactly what I'm
What you're
picturing.
imagining, right?
That's what I'm picturing with like the white wife beater on, and it's just like little belly popping out. That's what I think Ryan Gosling will
I'm
look
looking
like.
up Ryan Gosling fat. I'm going to see if we can find the evidence.
You know what? I support this though. I think this is healthier than losing weight for a role or putting on muscle. Just
Yeah.
gain 60 pounds, eat some ice cream.
I found a
At least
Twitter
have some
account
fun.
called Fat Ryan Gosling. That's what he looked like.
Oh. Good
He's
for
cute.
Him. Good for
You
him.
simply gotta respect him.
I love it.
That he did it for
He looks cute. I
for
like
a movie he did not get the role.
that isn't the part, really? And Mark Wahlberg is.
Mark Wahlberg got it.
Oh my god.
Peter Jackson. Yeah, some mistakes were made.
I just
How
think
did we get to Lovely Bones?
Saoirse Ronan, City
Saoirse
of
Ronan,
Ember.
City of Ember.
Okay.
They
young
shot the
adult
Lovely
novel.
Bones in my hometown. Fun fact.
What?
They shot the Lovely Bones in my hometown. Fun fact.
Gotcha.
Cool.
There's a mall 5 minutes from my house that is the mall they go to in that movie.
Nice.
Nice.
Anyway, Inkheart.
Inkheart.
I think we've basically established the context of this movie, right?
Yeah, it comes out in a period of a floodgate of young adult novel.
Brendan's at a low point. This is the last offer he gets, and only off of like luck that he was who the author had in mind.
Yeah.
Real quick, the writer of this movie is David Lindsay Abaire, who's normally a playwright, but he has written the screenplays for Robots, 2005.
Don't you slap on that.
I
This,
don't know what that is.
Rise of the Guardians, which is the movie about Saint Nick and Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny teaming up to fight evil.
Jesus Christ.
And then Oz the Great and Powerful. This man
I
should be
forgot about Oz
arrested
and
for
Great-
war
that
crimes.
was bad. Oh, does he a really big Wizard of Oz person?
I guess he must.
He must really love Wizard
he
of
must
Oz.
be.
Because he stuck Wizard of Oz
Yeah.
in this movie,
So
and
much.
there's not a single Wizard of Oz reference in the actual Inkheart book.
Yeah, he must just love that movie.
There's a lot of Peter Pan stuff in the book, but they took all
There's
of
like
that out.
one Peter Pan mention in this movie. I
Yeah,
think.
this is like the actual book is chock full of Peter Pan, and they replaced it all with Wizard
Yeah.
of Oz for some reason.
You think it's something with like rights that's like, well, we can't really show Peter Pan shit because
Peter
well,
Pan-
they show the crocodile.
Oh yeah, they do
No,
like Peter Pan's in here.
In here.
These are all public domain stories, so it's like why anyone can make a Sherlock Holmes movie. We can make a Sherlock Holmes movie.
Please don't.
I would play Sherlock Holmes.
No.
All right, we're gonna show this in,
No,
we Governor.
please.
Governor.
I'm representing Stuart right now. No. It's a no from Stuart.
I'm not. I'm
Well,
not
because
even,
you'd be Watson.
you didn't even have to say it. You didn't even have to say it.
It was very clear that that's what was happening.
Very
I
clear
was
that's
saying
what
no.
you were insinuating, Jeff.
I just had to say it. Do we want to just dive into the plot here?
Sure.
Plot,
Sure.
quote unquote.
Sure.
Directed by Ian Softly,
Ian Softly.
who I
Who
wrote.
else has he done?
More like a soft movie.
He made a movie called Hackers in '95,
Okay.
Skeleton Key in 2005, and then this movie, and then like maybe one or two other.
He
films
makes
after
two more
this.
movies that don't exist.
Yeah.
Great.
This is his most existent movie, and I would argue this movie doesn't really exist.
Yikes. Okay.
Actually, Hackers is probably his most Actually, no, Hackers is not.
I have no
existent.
idea what
am I
Hackers
talking
is.
about?
I don't know any of these movies.
I was
so.
thinking of a different hacking movie. I was thinking of
You're
Sneakers.
thinking of Cody Banks.
No, I'm thinking of I'm thinking.
I love Cody Banks.
I'm thinking of Sneakers. I'm thinking of Sneakers, a good movie.
I don't know
about
that movie.
A bunch of hackers.
I like the song "Sneakers Nights" by
All right,
Vanessa Hudgens.
let's talk about Inkheart before I ink die.
Ink Death is the third one.
Hey, I thought that was a good one.
That's right. No, well, I'm gonna get some commotion for Stuart.
Thank you, thank
Ooh,
you.
haha.
Fell asleep partway through the last episode.
You did basically check out for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You needed to relax.
All right, so we start we get narration.
Yeah. Who's the narrator of this movie?
Like who's the voice?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was somebody though, because I remember I looked up the cast.
I
list, and
recognize the voice.
It was somebody.
But they're essentially giving the exposition of there are people with powers where they read, it comes to life. Some people know about it and keep it secret. Some people don't know about it.
Roger Alam is the narrator.
Oh.
And we don't know
Don't
him
know.
from anything.
Okay, I don't know. Why I thought it was somebody.
We are with the what are their names? The
Mo's-
Full Chart family, right?
Oh, sure. I didn't even
Full
know.
Chart. How do you say the last name?
I have no idea. I didn't. Oh yeah, I don't know how you say it. I can see it spelled, but I don't know how to pronounce
But
it.
it's Mortimer.
Mortimer.
Short Mo, played by Fraser. Sienna Guillory? Sienna Guillory, who plays Risa.
Guillory. I
Guillory.
would say Guillory.
Okay. And then Eliza Bennett played Maggie, although this is like the younger kid version.
Yes.
Baby version. It's an infant.
We're seeing a
Little-
baby.
Little
Yeah.
guy.
Old baby
And
Meg.
Fraser opens up Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah. He starts reading the Lord Arachnid, and then the screen does this weird distortion thing. Outside of the house.
Yeah, we see a red cloak start floating down
Mm,
from the heavens.
What?
He can summon things from book. Yeah, it was weird. He only summoned the cloak and not her.
Well, I don't think he has control over it.
He doesn't have control of. Well, in the books, he doesn't. Have
I
control
imagine
over it.
of this as like the time traveler's wife, where like the dude who can time travel can't control where he goes, but his daughter has the ability to control it, meaning Maggie has more control over it. Is it kind of like that in the book?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I would say he doesn't really have control over it, and Maggie, I mean, you just like. It's implied that she's going to have, like, she starts to be able to have more control than he ever did. So yes, but it's like just at the end that she kind of figures out that she can do this. So
that she can rewrite reality.
Yes.
And make it as she sees fit.
Yes, though she doesn't do in the book. She doesn't write it. She doesn't write anything. She
and
just
the
reads
U.S.
it.
economy was fantastic. Gas prices were at an all-time low.
Oh my god.
All right. And then it just fades out of that scene.
Yeah, it's established. They say the word silver tongue. He's a silver tongue, and he can summon things from books.
Not to be confused with parcel tongue.
Yes. Can I? Sorry, I promise I won't do the whole book thing the entire time, or maybe I will because.
No, do it.
Okay. So I think a key difference right from the beginning of this movie, which speaks to the fact that the book is from Maggie's perspective, is that it takes us about 200 pages to learn that Mo can do that he can read things from books. Whereas
like it takes that long of him reading it before something happens, or
no, like things. So okay, okay. So in the book, like Mo's known basically his entire life that he can do this. But for his entire life, he was only able to read things out of books, right? It was never people. People never came out and people never went in. And then when Maggie is, as they show when she's like 3, this is true. Like he reads, some people out of the book and then he reads his wife into the book. And then after that, he never reads out loud. So when we start the book and Maggie's like 12, her father's never read out loud to her, as far as she knows or remembers. And Dustfinger comes, whatever. He's like, Capricorn's coming, whatever. It's this whole thing. But there's all this drama, but she doesn't know why. Like she doesn't know who are these people, what are they upset about, what is this book, like she doesn't know anything. So we don't learn until like 200 pages in that he has this power or what happened, whereas like in this movie that's the first thing you learn is that he has this power. Obviously we don't know about the wife and all of those things, but like right from the beginning that he has this power. But because it's from Maggie's perspective and she doesn't know that. That's because I would say kind of too the book, like I would say one of the central themes of the book is even just this idea of like learning that your parents are like your dad or your parent is like a human being. You know what I mean? Like that's like a lot of her journey of being like, oh shit, my dad is like a person who is flawed and like
that's like such a vital part of I was watching something recently where I was like
it wasn't Wishology, was it?
No, it wasn't Wishology. I can't remember what it was. I was talking about it with a former guest of the show, Ange Gardner. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, go back to the story. I was going to make a point, but I can't remember.
That's okay. But so I was just going to say, like, right from that first scene, like, I was already like, okay, like, we're taking a very different direction here. That, like, right from the beginning, like, we're in on this thing that Maggie's not in on, that he can do this thing. Because that's not where you're in the book. Like you're with Maggie the whole time. So like just from the fact that like right in the beginning that's how they set it up, but like there's this guy and he can do this thing, like we don't know that at all. So
I think when you said like that the book is Maggie's POV, like this movie is very much like, I mean, it is Mo's POV, but it's not consistently.
It's not consistent, but I would say it's definitely way more Mo than Maggie.
Yeah.
And even like Maggie's role in the movie, like there's so many things that like Maggie like figures out in the movie, which I think is because like they didn't know what to do with her since they decided it wasn't her POV anymore. That like Maggie does not figure out like for example, like I think she's the one that figures out, oh, they should go see the author. Like, oh, maybe the author has a copy of the book, or like she's like figuring all these things out. I think because they needed something to do with her. I think they were trying to make her like she's going to be the whiz kid who like figures this shit out in the movie. That is not her role in the book at all. Like she doesn't figure shit out. She's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know? So that was.
It's interesting that the book is about learning that your parents are flawed. Because
I would say that's a very central theme in it. Yeah.
And I'd say this movie is the opposite of that.
Yes.
It's earning respect to your gods, kinda.
It's like learning that your parents like do love you and are just trying to protect you. Like I don't.
Yeah, and even I like really have I don't know. I have more to say than I thought I did. Another thing too in the movie that's so different is like, okay, in the book, which I thought was really interesting and well done and smart and made sense, was that Maggie is like not interested like in finding her mom at all. She's like, I don't care. I don't know my mom. I don't remember my mom. And like, you are putting yourself in danger for this. Like, I'm not interested in this. Like, I have you. I love you. You're my dad. And I know that it hurts you that your wife is gone, but like you are putting us like in the second half of the book, then, you know, whatever, lots of things happen. But essentially like then he kind of decides like, well, maybe I can get her out of the book, which she's obviously not in the book, but he doesn't know that. And Maggie's not like, yes, like, let's go find my mom. I miss her so much. This was the worst thing that ever happened to me, that my mom disappeared. She's like, I have a great dad. And like, I have a happy life, like with you. And like, I don't really need her. Like, I've grown up without her. I don't know her. I don't remember her. And that like, that's a really interesting conflict in the book because that hurts him, that like, she doesn't remember her mom, that she essentially doesn't care. But I think that makes sense for a 12-year-old girl who doesn't know her mom to be like, I don't want you to put yourself in danger to go do this. I think that makes a lot more sense and is like more interesting, and it's an interesting conflict in the book, which is not there at all in the movie.
It sounds more like cinematic and graceful for like in the movie's mind. It sounds more like, oh, but we should have like Maggie want to find her mom too, because you know that's what like a nice kid would want. But I think the book is like telling the real story,
right?
Like that's more realistic of like if a kid never knew who their parent was, they're not going to have any emotional attachment to that.
That's the thing I was trying to say earlier, is that the book is about loving your parents and then realizing they were flawed. This movie's about thinking your parents are flawed and learning to love them. Yeah. Which is not nearly as
it's not as interesting. No.
Yeah. We get a 12-year time jump.
Yes.
And they're in Munich, Germany.
Mo is driving around the worst fucking van of all time. Like, shocked they're alive level van.
Yes.
Death trap.
Yes.
And apparently he just drives from city to city in Europe.
Not what happens in that.
Looking for a copy of Inkheart.
Oh, this is another thing. I'm sorry. I won't do this. I will do this whole time. This is really interesting. And again, I think speaks to this in the movie. I think the finding the mom is like such a central part of it. It's like, that's like an afterthought that happens like later in the book. He's had the book the entire time. He has the book. He's just scared to read it because he's like, what if I read Maggie into the book? What if I read somebody else into the book? What if I read a worse person out of the book? He hasn't read it. He has the book. He's not been looking for the book. Yeah. He has the book the whole time.
God. Oh my God. That is so different.
He has the book the entire time. The whole thing is then that Dustfinger comes and is like, Capricorn like is coming to get you.
And the book.
And the book. That's what happens. So he does not have the book. He's not like, that's not the thing of like, he's been looking for this book to read the mom out. Like, it's just then when he is like, gets kidnapped and is forced to read, and he's like, maybe I can learn to control it and I can figure it out and I can get her out. Like, he starts thinking about it, but he's had the book the whole time.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The whole time he's had it. So completely different.
Because I really want to know the economics of his life right now. Because seemingly he drives from town to town looking for this book. Yeah. And just like binds books as a traveling bookbinder. Yeah. I feel like bookbinding is not a task you would entrust to a stranger. Like just someone, or not necessarily, someone who's just like traveling.
Totally. I feel like doesn't make any sense.
You only need a bookbinder like in a specific situation. Yeah. And at that point, you probably just seek one out who's trusted. Yeah. Not just this guy who's like skulking around the street. He's like, hey, you got a copy of Inkheart? And you're like, no. And he's like, got any books? You need bind it? And you're like, all right, buddy. Here's $5. Go buy yourself a sandwich. Yeah. Yeah. But while he's in this store, Maggie encounters a creature. Right?
I don't remember.
It's like
It's Dustfinger. Well, it's a possum.
Oh, his
possum.
little guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's his name? Something with a G. I forgot.
Gwyn
Gwyn.
And that's when we get Paul Bettany
as Dustfinger.
As
as
Dustfinger.
Dustfinger.
Oh, Dustfinger.
Now, I might say something a little controversial here.
That's fine.
Seeing Paul Bettany as Dustfinger the first time, having not read the book, I was
Yeah.
like, hello.
He was doing things to you.
I was like, hello.
I mean,
Honestly,
Who
didn't
is this?
I didn't think that casting was that bad. That kind of made sense to me.
Here
I think
comes the boy.
Kind of looking
I-
like a
I-
snack.
boy.
I thought that was probably the best casting in the movie for me.
Would
was
you include
Dustfinger.
like the emo-ness of him?
Yes,
And like how
totally.
he's very like conflicted for some things.
Yeah, I think
like,
yes, Dustfinger is a really interesting character, and I think they probably did the best job with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's really interesting, and like, I wish they went into it more, but yeah, there's the whole thing with him and the mom, where he's like he's in love with the mom.
see,
and
like I feel like they like skim it just a
Right, and it's-
little bit.
it's really interesting, and there are like, so the majority of the book is from Maggie's perspective, but there are a couple chapters where we go like we never are in Moe's mind, and it's like it's a close third person, right? So it's not first
Yeah.
person, but we follow Maggie for most of it. But there are chapters where we're in Dustfinger's head, and he's
That's exciting.
really interesting. We get him, and then the great aunt,
Eleanor,
yes,
who's like
Eleanor.
not a character in this movie.
No,
No, and
Helen
she's
Mirren just walked on set.
no, and she's a really fun character in the.
You could
in the
delete
book.
all her scenes from the movie, and the movie would be the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to talk about Paul Bettany real quick, because yes, like
Clearly, Stuart wants to
talk-
talk about him.
It's okay. My girlfriend's just right over there.
yeah, she's not listening at this moment. You can say whatever you want. 10 seconds to say it. She's not listening. Stuart, don't say anything. we're talking about Paul Bettany being a snack.
Dustfinger, Paul Bettany.
Give a kissing.
True.
So that's a spoiler alert for our next episode, folks. Wishology, where Angelica will be joining us on the show. An episode we definitely haven't already recorded.
Yeah.
So Paul Bettany kind of comes on the scene pretty hot. He's in A Knight's Tale, Beautiful Mind,
Pretty hot. Hey, 'cause he's got fire powers.
Master and Commander, The
And
Far
he's
Side of the
hot.
World. He comes on hot, and then he just, he has a run of movies. Da Vinci Code, for one, hilariously
Oh, there we
enough.
go.
Strange role.
Firewall, Da Vinci Code, very weird movie. But he never really gets like the big movie for him. Master and Commander is probably his biggest movie. But it never really gets like the movie that launches Paul Bettany into stardom.
Yeah.
And around 2008, when he's in this movie,
Oh God.
he also gets asked by his friend Jon Favreau. He's like, "Hey, will you come in for a day and record some lines from my movie Iron Man?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So he comes in for one day. They give him a few $100,000.
Oh, he's the little robot guy.
and he voices
Jarvis.
who's Iron Man's like
sorry, I'm not
like, robot assistant.
I'm
in the
not a
movie.
Marvel dork.
This is why this is interesting though, because after Inkheart, he's basically only in flops. Paul Bettany, in terms of his physical presence, to the extent that by 2013, he is very open that he could not get like auditions in Hollywood. No one wanted to cast him because everything he was in was a flop.
Tomato.
And he was
tomato.
basically getting along by like voice roles in Marvel movies.
A Knight's Tale was good though.
That was like his first movie.
I know, but
And so he can't, like, he's not able to get auditions. Like, nothing's working for him. And then suddenly Marvel's just like, "Hey, what if we made you a physical character now?" And he said he was both very pissed because it means instead of now recording one day and getting paid his full paycheck, he now has to show up every day to set and put all this makeup on. But it kind of relaunches his career. After he's in Avengers 2 as the Vision, he pops up in Solo, a Star Wars story. He gets multiple TV appearances. His career kind of gets relaunched by what he considers the worst decision of his life.
There you go.
that is pretty funny.
I think his career is just funny, and I wanted to quickly highlight
Good
it.
actor though.
Thanks.
Good actor. He's good in this movie.
He is good in this movie. Yeah, I would say he's my
not
favorite.
the best in this movie. I'm gonna get to who.
Who do you think is the best?
It's Andy Serkis.
No, it's a very Jeff character. A very Jeff performance.
It's a fun but it's so inaccurate to the book that it drove me crazy. But
you know who I'm talking about.
yes, I do.
Wait, who are you talking about?
We'll get to
You
it.
should just tell me.
No, we'll get to it.
Suspense is killing me.
Stuart, you can figure it out if you know me.
Paul Bettany, Firebender, comes in.
So he's like, you want to go back to the bottle with me?
Yeah, because Mo finds Inkheart in the bookstore. Not accurate to the actual book, but he finds Inkheart in the bookstore. Just a copy lying around. Doesn't pay for it. I don't think so.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. What the fuck?
I don't know if he paid for it.
Moses stealing. No, he'd be bound 20
Book
books
Mo would
for
never.
them.
Book Mo would pay for the book.
He bound 20 books for them, and
Fraser Mo, he's now paying. He's walking out with that book. And then Dustfinger immediately corners him.
yeah, it's like, give me the book.
He's like, it's like interesting. He's like, you're gonna read me in the book now? And he's like, I don't have the book. What's in your bag? The book. In addition to being a firebender, he also has like telepathy and can read minds. He also then says like Capricorn is coming. And I'm thinking, is the villain a Capricorn? Like
He actually is.
no shit.
Yeah, that's not his real name. He named himself Capricorn because he was like, I need a villain name. I'm a Capricorn.
He probably
like that's literally canon.
You know what probably happened? What's his real name in the book?
They don't. You never learn it. You
I
just know
imagine
that's not his real name.
he stumbles out of the book and is like Hobbit-like outfit as described in the movie. And the first thing he does is, I gotta go to the DMV and get a driver's license. And so he stumbles in, and the DMV worker's like, all right, date of birth. He's like, oh fuck, when's a Capricorn actually? I don't actually know.
Capricorns are
not
in
July,
January.
January. It's like January something. It's like, oh, you're a Capricorn. And I'm like, I am Capricorn. It's like, all right, so what's your name?
my name.
And it's like, Capricorn. I want that deleted.
He walked out of the book, and his name was probably like Frito Layman or some bullshit.
Oh my god.
They're like the villain Frito from the book. He's like, I cannot stick with this.
Capricorn.
Anyway, he basically kicks Dustfinger away.
Yeah. For sure.
And zips out of town in his shitty van.
Yes.
You're really heated about this van.
Like, why would you do that to your daughter?
And the van is supposed to be so cute in the book. And
You know what
they
it
fuck
looks
the
like
van
in
up.
this?
What does it look like?
A pile of shit.
Yeah, it does. It's like, well, because never mind. Doesn't matter. Keep going.
They flee to Italy.
Yes.
He's like, I need cash. I need cold,
And
hard cash.
It's at this point in the movie when we finally get like the context of the mom is missing.
Yeah.
Mom's been gone for a while. 9 years, they said.
9 years. Yes.
9 years.
Yeah.
9 years.
She's 12.
She's 12.
She's 12, so she disappeared when she was 3. So yeah. I do want to point out when they go to Italy, I was very impressed with like the location and set dressing. It looked really nice. There's some scenes where they're sitting out on a bench by the lake.
I wish I was there.
Very pretty.
Yeah.
I think the movie has some beautiful locations that make it look nice. I can't speak to whether if I think the cinematography of the movie is actually any good.
It does not shoot these locations well. I think this movie is very blasé looking, to the extent that even when you're in these cool locations, you're like, oh my, this look cooler.
I think the castle's wasted.
Yeah.
Castle is absolutely wasted. I just thinking like when they were at Eleanor's mansion, that looked kind of cool.
Yeah, I wish I was sitting out there.
Yeah.
With Helen Mirren. Looks fun.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd hang out with Helen Mirren.
Yeah. Same.
So yeah, Helen Mirren's the great aunt, and she has a giant library that Maggie. I just want to make sure it's Meggie, not Maggie, for
It's
our audience.
Maggie.
And
Maggie.
every time I keep saying Meggie, I feel really weird. I just want to say Maggie.
Yeah.
It's a Meggie. Oh, Meggie, down in the Bobby.
I hate
Oh,
the
me,
name. Yeah,
love
no.
me.
And
You
yes,
know what, Stuart? It's been almost a year since we last said it. Fuck Australians.
I agree.
Welcome. Just gonna say it.
We're on a roll right now of re-offending the folks we offended last season.
Yeah,
It's been a while since I said this, but fuck White Castle.
Yeah, fuck the Australians.
Fuck White Castle.
Stay down under.
Fuck Australians. And I don't know. We have other people.
No, Australians, you're probably cool people, but still fuck you. Miggy.
Maggie. The next thing I have written down is that Dustfinger finds them.
Okay.
He does.
He does. And can I interject with my
Yeah.
book stuff really quick? Okay. Dustfinger's betrayal is a much bigger deal in the book because so many different things happen, but Dustfinger comes to them and is like basically like, hey, Capricorn, like he's like saying that I want to help you. Capricorn's trying to come and get you. Like I want to help.
Yeah.
He comes with them to Eleanor's. He stays with them. There's like a whole like 75 pages where they're at Eleanor's for like a couple of weeks, which obviously they don't need to do that in the movies. I don't think they should be in Eleanor's that long. There's no reason. But he's like there with them. Yeah. Like hanging out, like doing fire shows for Maggie. Like,
and the betrayal is a big deal.
So the betrayal is a big deal because you're connected. Like you like Dustfinger, and like Maggie's kind of like, I don't know about Dustfinger. Like I'm like a little worried, but she starts to like trust him.
Whereas in the movie, Dustfinger's like sketchy from the start.
Dustfinger
so totally
in this
different.
Movie is changing his allegiances and opinions so much.
So
like
much.
Every scene, he's changing his mind about.
Which I think Bettany does the best he can possibly do with it.
Yeah.
Totally, I agree.
Like you should play him as a psychotic, like like lunatic.
Yeah. But
there's a scene where he literally runs away. Gets like 20 feet out of the castle, is like, and then runs back, has to break back into the castle.
Yes, yeah. And he does change his mind a lot in the book. That is something because he, which is true in this too. Like his end goal is he is like, I don't want to fucking be here. I want to be home. Yeah. I want to go back in the book. That's my home. I like want to be there. But he like still is like, at the end of the day, he's a good person who like wants to do the right thing. But he also is like, I cannot fucking be here anymore. So he does change his mind a lot. But like, you're like. I feel like, and you start to have more complicated feelings for him in the movie, and like he's going back and forth, and they do interesting stuff in the movie, but he starts off, as Stuart said, sketchy from the beginning, whereas in the book it's like he starts off a little sketchy in the book, but still like he's like hanging out with them, like he's like they still like you like, and you're like rooting for him to do the right thing, and then he's like he doesn't do it, and you're like, oh, but here it's just like, who cares that it's not a betrayal I don't feel like it feels like a betrayal in the movie because it's like he started off sketchy
saying something about Capricorn,
right?
And the next time we see him is he shows up at the mansion and says, I brought Capricorn,
right? Exactly. So there's no betrayal.
Right.
That's not what it is. It's just him. Yeah, he's like starts off like a villain, like he's like a bad guy, and then he does a bad guy thing.
In my brain, it's like Dustfinger's working for Capricorn,
right?
Like,
totally.
Like from the get go.
Yeah.
So which is what happens. He shows up at the mansion and he's like, I asked you to read me in the book. I tried to be nice about it, but I brought Capricorn this time.
And he's like, how'd you know we were here? And they're like, this is your aunt. He's like, all right, adds up.
Again, he has telepathy along with firebending.
And they immediately get arrested and taken to Capricorn's new castle in an undisclosed location.
Somewhere in Germany, maybe?
Maybe?
There's a lot of Nazism, fascism overtones with Capricorn and the goons.
Yeah.
I mean, they're burning books.
They're burning books.
And they have like sigils on their face.
Yeah.
Which I know is not like intended.
Yeah.
It's from a
Capricorn just thought Hitler had some good ideas. He's not. Capricorn's not saying he's a Nazi. He's just saying, maybe we should reevaluate some of those ideas.
In the 9 years Capricorn was in the material plane of Earth, he did some research, read up on this interesting guy named Adolf Hitler.
Yeah.
Was like,
Capricorn's just saying,
he made some points.
Yeah, there's some points we could look at.
Some points we could look at here.
Yeah.
But yeah, they take them to the castle.
Yeah.
The first thing that I have written down is the stable scene when they're leading them through like the stable dungeon.
There's a unicorn.
There's a crocodile with a ticking clock inside of it.
Yeah.
There's a crocodile Dundee, oddly enough. Paul Hogan's
there's like the monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
Again, with the fucking Wizard of Oz. They're obsessed.
James Franco's in one of the stables.
It's not his character, Randy. It's just James Franco. It's like, how? And they're like, "Well, how'd you wind up in here?" And they're like, "They read me out of my autobiography."
Oh, man, could you do that? Could you read a person out of their autobiography?
Oh my god.
Would it summon a second version of them, or would it just teleport them?
I don't know. That's a good question. We'll have to. I'm
gonna
gonna email Cornelia.
Yeah, I'm gonna email her and be like, just stars, important, respond ASAP, star. Hey, if you read an autobiography with
Well, like an autobiography of somebody who's like dead.
yeah,
Would you bring him back to life?
Hubba, here you bring Elvis back.
It's played by Austin Powers.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. So yeah, they lead them through.
Yeah.
They put them in one of the stable things, and then that's when Mo goes on the expositional rant story to Maggie.
Yeah, he just like is.
Oh, Maggie.
He's like, yeah, your mom sucked in a book. It sucked.
Remember that game Jumanji?
You ever seen Jumanji?
Oh my god.
She's like, Dad, what happens to the women in that when that's the fantasy world?
Oh my god.
There's going to be a TV series that comes out of HBO in a few years called Game of Thrones. You'll find out.
Oh my god. That part where he's telling her. So me and my fiance Beth watched the movie together, and as I was reading the book, I was telling Beth what was happening in the book because I do that. And when I told Beth, like, oh yeah, and the mom, he read these people out of the book, and then the mom went into the book. Beth was like, well, how does he know that she's in the book? Like, how does he know that's what happened? And I'm like, he just knows. Like, he just knows that's how it works. And Beth was like, no, how does he know? And then it was so funny in the movie. Then Maggie did the same thing. Maggie was like, how do you know she's in the book? Like, how do you know that's what happened?
Right.
And I was like, damn, asking the real question.
I suppose like when he explains like the flashback scene, how he's reading to Maggie, and then the whirl of wind, and then Dustfinger arrives, and then Capricorn arrives, in his little golem state, and then all commotion happens. They flee, and then he turns over.
Don't forget about Basta.
Oh, and Basta.
Don't forget about Basta.
Basta.
Pasta.
Little and Basta. Basta, is it a Basta?
Did you just skim past Capricorn appearing?
No. This is what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he turns over and then just sees not his wife.
Yeah.
My wife! I didn't kill my wife! I didn't suck my wife into a book!
There was a man in my house.
A 1 hour man!
A flaming man!
I fought with this man!
Oh, God.
You find him! You find this man!
Okay. So, and then they get led out of the stable to the main throne room where Capricorn is
chilling
in the wheel spinning chair. The only thing that was missing was a white cat on his lap.
Yeah, he actually spins around the chair. He's like, you thought you expected someone else, Mr. Powers? You're like, oh, shit! It's Dr. Evil!
It's Mike Myers! Read them out of the screenplay.
What if you read a screenplay when you summon the characters?
This is what we're gonna do.
I
knew this is what we're gonna do this episode. Is like just pick apart this whole little bit. Like if he read Birdman on your poster here,
no,
would Birdman appear?
That's not enough words. Here's my question: Top shelf. What if you read one of those books?
No.
What would happen?
No.
What?
No.
Wait.
No, don't do it.
Oh, I knew it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Hold on, Jeff.
Yeah.
Let me do it.
Don't do it.
All right. So Stuart is now reading
I'm so scared.
My Life, the autobiography of Bill Clinton, and we're gonna see what will happen.
What if I get read into the book? I'm scared.
All right. President Bill Clinton's My Life is a strikingly candid portrait of a global leader
my
who
God.
decided early in
Something's
life
coming out of the
to
book.
devote his intellectual political gifts and his don't hit it that hard. And very sensitive and costly microphones. And what? Do you hear something? Are you hearing something? And his extraordinary capacity for hard work to serving the public. It is biography of President Bill Clinton. Holy shit!
Oh my God! You did do it!
I was silver tongued. Holy fuck!
Oh, hi, Stuart. Last thing I remember, I was sipping back a daiquiri with Hillary back in our mansion.
Wait.
Next thing I know, I'm in your apartment again.
Am I speaking to what year did this book come out?
Speaking of former President Bill Clinton.
This what was the copyright of this book?
What book?
I read you out of a book, Bill.
Mr.
2016.
2016.
Did I read out 2016 Bill Clinton? Or did I read out
Oh, I don't know.
Hillary's
Mr.
about to win the election.
Mr. President, I have really bad news.
Hillary's about to win the election, right?
Stuart, you want to tell him or should I?
I don't think I can.
I already packed
don't
my,
think
my White House garb. Go back to that White House. I'll be smoking doobies in the West Wing again.
Mr. President. We have
Knocking
some
back all nine
have
holes
such
in
bad
the
news
South
for you.
Lawn.
Mr. President, we have bad news.
What?
Can you guess what the bad news is?
They mowed the lawn, got rid of my golf course.
Somebody else is going to be president.
Oh shit! Barack make himself third term.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Let's go with that.
That's what happened.
Oh, I recognize this apartment. I don't know how. Have I been here before?
In 2016, no.
Who lives here? Who lives here?
A man who you'll meet in a few years.
Oh, where's he at right now?
I think he's hanging out with Hillary.
Hold on, I'm trying to find another name in this book that I can read from. See if I can.
What are you trying to do, Stuart?
Oh, you'll find
Hey,
out.
Stuart. Stuart.
First thing I see is
Stuart.
Saddam Hussein.
Oh, no. That son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
What if I make Jeff try to do a Saddam Hussein impression? It will get canceled. Oh, wait a minute.
What are we talking about?
I got something even better. And in the face of intense lobbying by the NRA, Al Gore had broken a 50-50 tie to pass the close the gun show loophole in the Brady's law requirement of background checks.
It's an inconvenient problem. It's an inconvenient problem. Where am I? It's me, former Vice President Al Gore.
Oh my God.
I got a question.
Oh.
I got a question. Have we stopped global warming yet?
I think scientists give us like a 5-year max.
Oh, boy. I told people it's an inconvenient problem. Back home in Tennessee, they don't believe me. But it's fine. I'll continue working. We'll keep plugging away. President Hillary Clinton going to be elected in just a few months. She'll get things shipshape. Oh, you're looking through that book there, son.
I'm trying to find one more person if I can.
Stuart,
One
how are
more
we going to
person
get
if you
Jeff back
can.
out?
Oh, that's right. I got to get Jeff back out.
Who's Jeff?
Shit. What can I think of that has like a Jeff Sweeney thing?
Oh, I don't know. You might have to pull a Meggie and write something yourself.
Okay. Give me a pen. Okay. Oh wait.
What are you looking
I
at
think
there?
There's something written.
There's
in
a
here.
book you're grabbing. What's that book?
It
Me, Al Gore, former Vice President of the United States of America. What's that book you're reading?
It
there, son?
doesn't have the person's name in it that I want to read from it.
Well, who wrote that?
A man named Jeff Sweeney.
Now, I'm not a philosopher, but by my logic, if you read the text of a person
No.
from their point of view, you would summon their essence.
I got an even better idea.
You got it. Okay.
Um,
I believe in you, Silver Tongue.
This feels like a valuable use of my time.
all of his friends.
Who, his? You talking about my friends?
All of his
Al.
friends admired him for his wit and humor. I'm just gonna fake right. Wit and humor, and everyone appreciated even how sometimes
Whoa.
he would speak in a very
Whoa.
high-pitched tone.
Whoa.
And every once in a while, he would burp mid-sentence. And that man that we all admired is Jeff Sweeney.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Jeff, you're back.
Yeah, that was weird. I just wanted him next to Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God. How's she doing in 2016?
She punched me in the face. She's like, "Get away from me, you creep." It was weird. What happened?
I read from My Life, Bill Clinton.
Oh my God,
Bill-
you're a silver tongue.
Bill
He's a
Clinton.
silver tongue
Bill
right here.
Clinton came out,
That's really.
and then I read a passage.
Did he
that
remember
had-
his last appearance on the show for Primary Colors?
Barely, no.
Oh, okay.
And then
I
I
hadn't
read
been here yet, right? Because I
Yeah.
was. It's
Oh,
2016.
because this was written
It's
in 2016.
2016, yeah.
So he had not met you before.
Yeah, so
Well,
he had
someone
no idea.
contact Cornelia Funk because we found the answer to the question. You can summon people from history.
Wow,
Wow.
that's a dangerous power you
Yeah,
have.
you can just read
Yeah.
Hitler's
Stuart.
autobiography.
You better be careful.
Yeah.
Do you have the Rise and Fall of the Third Reich?
Nope.
Okay. Anyway, so they're with
Where did we leave off?
Capricorn.
Oh, they're with Capricorn. We meet Capricorn.
Yeah.
Who's
Jeff. You do have to burp in the middle of your sentences. That's how I conjured it back.
I know that.
Yes.
Capricorn turns around, and it's Andy Serkis.
It's Andy Serkis.
Yes.
Who is good at being sinister. There's not really much to the character in this movie.
I saw untamed raw power.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is a very good actor, and he's having fun chewing the scenery with a like paper thin villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like his whole thing is like, I don't want to go back in the book. I want to bring more things out of books.
Yeah.
You're like, ah.
I like this world. I think I'll stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
And he has a silver tongue who stutters and has been fucking up all the stuff they've been pulling out, which is why all the dudes have text on their face.
Rude.
Yeah, that's not a thing in the book. That was stupid.
It's a little rude.
That wasn't in the book at all?
That was not in the book. No,
That
he
was-
does, but like the thing they do in the book is kind of ableist, so it's fine
Yeah.
because it's like in the books the guy fucks them up by like he'll bring somebody like for example the mom like she's mute now, like that's how he fucked her up.
Yeah.
Like she came out and now she can't talk, or like people
Yeah.
are missing a leg or something or
Oh my
whatever.
God.
There's no text on anybody's face.
Why can't it be like, if you read them out of the book wrong, they just like they have like a caffeine addiction.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has to be something that like they're
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah,
They're missing their sense of
Yeah.
speech
Yes.
or a limb.
yeah. It was,
I think this is about the halfway point of the movie. We don't meet Capricorn until like the halfway point.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like the halfway. It's like 45 minutes into this movie.
Jeez. Then the third act really drags.
Yeah. So they meet and Capricorn's just like, this is my plan. I want you to read from this book, and he gives him 1,000 Arabian Nights. What's that?
1001 Nights. Isn't
1,001 Nights. And he summons essentially Aladdin.
It's
it? Sure, it's like
Yeah.
a Aladdin kind of stand-in. Yeah.
Yeah. A character named Farid.
Yes.
Played
and
by
a bunch of gold.
Rafi
And a bunch of
Gavron.
gold.
And yeah, so that happens.
Yeah.
And Capricorn's like, they have your copy of Inkheart? And he takes a copy and he throws it in the fire.
Yeah.
Dustfinger is immediately like, oh no.
Yeah,
Sticks his hands in the
he's-
fire and he gets burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is important.
Is it?
Meanwhile, Brendan gets taken to jail.
To jail.
In the basement of the castle. The
And
dungeon.
Dustfinger goes into like the kitchen area
Yeah, to get
where
some
all the
ice.
prisoner women are working.
To cool
They're
them down.
shackled to the
And we
floor
discover
in the kitchen.
that Riza,
Riza.
Mo's wife, is there
Yeah.
working. She's been pulled out of the book already.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she can't talk.
She
But
can't talk.
Can't talk.
At this point, Dustfinger, seeing her, has a flashback to his family. And I just want to highlight this because Jennifer Connelly is playing his wife for one scene
That's true.
because they're
she
actually
is.
married in real life.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go.
This is important because I wanted to quickly read from Paul Bettany's Wikipedia, his personal life section.
Sure.
Because I find this very funny. On 1st of January 2003, Bettany married American actress Jennifer Connelly in Scotland. They met when they started together in the 2001 film A Beautiful Mind. They did not become a couple until sometime after filming, as they were in other relationships at the time. As a teenager, Bettany had developed a crush on her after seeing her in the 1986 film Labyrinth.
Oh my God. I
the
love Labyrinth.
The 9/11 attacks motivated him to act on his
What?
feelings for her.
What?
And after 2 days
What
of
the fuck?
And
Oh.
after 2 days of attempting to contact her, he proposed, despite the fact that they were not yet in a relationship. Soon after their marriage, they moved to Brooklyn Heights after living in Tribeca. The couple have 2 children together and is still together to this day.
9/11, man.
I like that he's like, we met on a movie. I had a
Wow.
crush on you when I was a teenager. 9/11 has inspired me to propose to you in spite of us not being in a relationship.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack there.
And apparently they're still together and happy. But
Well, I guess.
I think that's just such a wild story.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are they any of them Scientologists? Jennifer Connelly, Paul Bettany.
Not
that I
I'm
know
aware
of.
We haven't talked about Scientology in a while. I
Yeah.
kind of miss it.
When
I
we,
have things to say.
when we do Tom Cruise one day, we'll get
We
to
could
it.
read L. Ron Hubbard out of a book. That would be fun.
Beat him up and send him back. I want to summon a guy out of a book, beat him up, and send him back into the book just for the bit.
Right before like a really heroic speech.
Yeah. So they're in prison, and
Dustfinger
breaks
breaks them out.
yeah,
Because I think he overhears them talking through a plan
yeah,
about we should find the author.
yeah.
Because it's surely the author. Which did nobody in the 9 years think of this idea? Like
Yeah.
what?
Not even Capricorn thought of it.
Well, the whole thing in the books is that nobody in the book, I don't know why they decided this I think it was kind of silly, but nobody in Inkheart, like the characters in Inkheart, they're all illiterate. Nobody knows how to read, so they don't really
What?
think. Yeah, they don't think about books. Like nobody reads. I don't know why.
Very good. So Dustfinger breaks him out. He leaves Riza there and doesn't tell Mo that she's there.
It's a very like kind of brutal scene.
Yeah, was messed up.
Because she kind of tries to break out, but then
Yeah.
she's like in
And
like
she's like
the
trying
dungeon,
to scream for help,
Yeah.
but she can't scream.
and Dustfinger sees her,
Yeah.
and then just leaves.
Yeah, that was
It's
fucked up.
Fucked up.
And so they drive to Italy, where
Oh.
Finoglio.
Got the way that they break out.
Finoglio.
Thank you. The way
How many times are you gonna say that name?
Finoglio's house.
the way that they break out is that Fraser reads from Wizard of Oz and creates the storm.
Yes.
They just break
Finoglio.
out like normal people. And, well, so many different
Yeah.
things have happened. I'm not going to tell you all the differences, but it's just the way they break out. I think in the books, it's just a very normal breakout. And then
Yeah, it's just
Dustfinger, there's a bunch of cars, and Dustfinger just like pops the tires on all the other cars so nobody can follow them. And then they just are like, okay, bye.
Bye.
Nice.
There's no Wizard of Oz.
So yeah, they find
Finoglio.
they find
No, they go to Finoglio, who lives in Italy. And when you tell me that they're gonna go see a guy named Finoglio who writes books in Italy, I'm expecting like fucking Super Mario or something to come out.
Chibbity
like,
Cricket.
No, and then said Slughorn.
it should be like the like Geppetto or some shit like that. It should come and be like, Mamma mia, you read my book, huh? you like my book? I like your meatball. Here we go. Eat the spaghetti. Like that should be the guy who pops out of this, who like wrote this book. Instead, they get there, a guy named Finoglio in Italy, and they open the door, and Jim Broadbent comes out, the single most British man of all time. Who also he's like, oh, you read my book, didn't you? This is my favorite performance in this movie.
I was gonna say
I knew it was.
amazing casting.
Jim
I knew
Broadbent
it was.
is so funny. He's like, if you took the British island, like the island itself, and just turned it into a person,
That's him.
he's what would emerge.
That's
He's
him.
Jim Broadbent.
He's funny in everything he appears in, not for any reason. He just is very funny looking.
Yeah,
and
it's not
sounding.
intentional. Yeah, it's just him.
He just walks in, he's like, oh yeah, it's me, I'm Jim Broadbent. He's on a run at this point. He's in Narnia. He's in Hot Fuzz. He's in Indiana Jones 4. He's in Inkheart. He's in Harry Potter. It's like Jim Broadbent's supremacy in this household
Yeah. Okay.
at this point in time. He's in Cloud Atlas in the best storyline of that movie. Has anyone seen Cloud Atlas?
No, that's why I didn't say anything.
yeah.
That's why we sat there silently.
It's a Wachowski sisters movie, and the basic idea is that it's five different stories across time, starting with like the 1600s and one like 1,000 years in the future, and how like a little act of kindness in one time period affects everything else, and how like kindness rebounds
That's
through
cute.
history. Really good movie, but like one of the storylines is about like rebels fighting in a massive war in the future. And the Jim Broadbent storyline is him trying to break out of a retirement home because he's accidentally sent into it.
Oh.
And it's just like him with a walker, like trying to break out of this fucking retirement center.
Damn.
Fascinating.
Just felt that was important.
They're about to go meet Finoglio, but Dustfinger does not want to meet him because
Yeah.
he's like, you never want to meet your maker or whatever. And he's like, I
Yes.
also don't want to know, like, he's like, Maggie, do you know how your story ends? And he's like, no. And it's like, yeah, well, neither do I. And that's how I want to keep it that way.
Which I think makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. You
Yeah.
want to meet the person who writes your story.
Nice. Every right is
Nice. Okay, great.
cool. Jeff showed us something that Jeff thinks is funnier than me and Stuart think
I've
it
been,
is. That's
I've
what
been
you
laughing
missed.
about this for weeks.
That's what you missed.
So
The audience at home.
Yeah, they talked to Finoglio, and then they're like, yeah, and we brought Dustfinger. And Finoglio, like, it doesn't take much for Finoglio to believe them that his
Yeah,
writings are coming out of the book.
Yeah, it's harder in the. book,
Thank
but-
God this wasn't like a Tolkien-esque like book where like the author's well dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, and he's like, oh my God, Dustfinger. It's like, I have to meet Dustfinger. It's like my child. And meets Dustfinger. Dustfinger has an existential crisis. It's like, why is he all freaked out? Is he sad because he dies at the end of the book? Whoa! Dustfinger's like, what? It's like,
Not cool.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not chill guy.
Not cool. Finoglio in the books is much chiller than Slughorn. So he's got cute little grandkids too that they took out. I like the grandkids.
Yeah, they're dead.
They're not there.
Non-existent.
No. Also, there's a whole like, and I'm not saying this should have been in the movie. It should not have because there's no reason, but it is fun in the book. There's like, again, they just like go stay in a hotel in Italy for like 2 weeks. They all like show up in Italy and they're like, all right, well, I guess we got to talk to this author, but like first, like we need to just chill. So they like go have breakfast.
Yeah.
And they're like hanging out, and then like Eleanor's like, I got fucking money, let's just like go stay in the penthouse. And they're just like staying in the penthouse for like 2 weeks.
Eleanor like leaves at this point.
Yeah.
In the movie.
She does
does.
the
She's gone.
smart thing, and she's like, this isn't for me.
Yeah,
Here's the
she's
thing.
like, what
this
am I doing
movie
here?
is 106 minutes long, an hour and 46 minutes. That's like a good length for a movie. I usually prefer a shorter movie unless there's like a lot to do.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
movie's
they
so
could
long
have
now.
added a little more to this movie. It seems like they're like you're adding all these things. Like, yeah, they cut all this out, they cut all that out. And I'm not saying this movie should be 3 hours long, but
No, but
you could add like 5 minutes to this movie and probably fix some
I think
things.
that yeah, for sure, and like just like some more. Like there's just a lot of fun things that happen in
Yeah.
the books that would just add a little that aren't necessary, but would just add a
There's
little.
no character
spice.
in this movie.
There's no character.
And like Fraser's, he's a blank slate in this movie. I hate
Everybody's
to say
a blank slate. They're all
he's like a walking like mannequin.
yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't work
giving
for this
nothing.
role at all.
I'd say that's why I admire Paul Bettany for his performance, because there's nothing differently written about Dustfinger other than Paul Bettany just bringing a little bit of flavor to
Yeah,
it.
They're
he's
two guys who missed
I
their
agree.
wives.
Yeah.
This is a wife guy movie.
It is a wife guy movie. The Dustfinger book has no wife.
Really?
Yeah, he just wants to go back because
Wow.
he just wants to go back because he's like, I miss the
Yeah,
fairies. I miss the goblins. I miss.
See the Shire.
Yeah, he has no family. He doesn't have a family.
Uh,
But this movie said people only want wives and
You only want their wives.
only want their wives.
Christopher Nolan put on notice.
cut to that everyday common white dude flashback scene of the wife under the cover smiling at them.
Every movie. Every
Literally.
fucking movie.
Literally.
They find the manuscript.
Yeah, and Dustfinger casually reveals your wife is back at the castle.
Yeah. It's like, the fuck?
He's like, why did you tell me that? And he's like, I thought you wouldn't read me back. He's like, I'm not going to read you back now.
Yeah. He's a little mad.
And so eventually Mo and Dustfinger, they're like, we're going to go back to Capricorn's castle and get Risa.
Yeah.
And they leave Maggie
Behind.
with Finoglio.
Yeah.
I
They
really
leave this
fucking said
they
that out
leave this
loud.
16-year-old girl at home with Jim
She's
Broadbent.
12.
Here's the thing.
The scene where he. I'm sorry. No, go. Sorry.
I love Jim Broadbent. I don't know if I'd trust my 12-year-old daughter alone with Jim Broadbent
No.
if I have no connection to Jim Broadbent.
No.
If he's my dad, different story, but it's just like a guy who wrote a book.
Right. And so Maggie is at Jim Broadbent's.
Yeah, and she's just like reading The Wizard of Oz.
And it's just them, right? The two.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, she's reading The Wizard of Oz
And then-
for the hell of it.
Because.
And summons Toto, who's very important to the movie.
Hey. 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 You know the real dog that played Toto? They have like a gravesite in Kansas for. It was like a gravestone.
Yeah, sucks different.
Oh, okay.
He was in multiple movies, Toto.
All right. Anyway, so then
we should do animals as our subjects for the next season. Of this
no,
show.
you shouldn't. That's
First
a
up,
silly idea.
Harambe.
No, he's never in a movie. We should I'm talking like Bart the bear.
I'm gonna go on Twitter while you guys figure this
Okay. So she summons Toto, and then a bunch of henchmen show up, and then you're a silver tongue, and yeah.
I was gonna say this is the scene in the movie when Hermione and Ron take Maggie aside and they're like, "Maggie, you're a silver tongue." It's like, I'm a what?
No, just Maggie.
No, I just read from the book.
Harry.
It's like, well, to us it sounded like you were speaking with a snake voice and bringing things to life. But yeah, Capricorn's men find her and take her. They take.
Okay, hold on. But I also think it's very funny. They bring in Finoglio, and he's just like, "What was I supposed to do?"
Yeah.
Sorry, they want to kidnap us.
That's why I like him, because it's Jim Broadbent just bumbling around for the
That's
rest
like-
of this movie, nothing to contribute.
No, nothing. That's just so funny. Anyways.
He's like, yeah, they showed up, but look, it's Basta. And I'm like, number one, how'd you find us here? It's your aunt's house. How'd you find us here? It's the author of the book.
Fuck.
We get a random cut to Eleanor, and she decides not to get on a train and come back and help them. Good for Helen Mirren getting that bag. I hope she got paid well for this.
There's a scene in the books where she goes to the police, and then the police come, and then it turns out that Capricorn is like in with the police.
Hell yeah.
And they're like, "This lady's talking shit about you, so we brought her here so you can throw her in the dungeon." So
sad for them.
yeah, this is an anti-cop.
Anti-cop
book.
literature.
Yeah,
This
So-
movie's pro-cop.
yeah. The movie's pro-cop. The book's
Yeah.
It
anti-cop.
is. So, yeah, Mo, Dust, and Fareed, they sneak into the castle.
At this, basically, Capricorn's men show up with Finoglio and Maggie at the same time.
Yeah, they get there very quickly.
And while the three of them are sneaking around, they bring Maggie immediately to Capricorn. They're like, she's a silver tongue too.
He'll read for me, and he opens up a lockbox book that has a copy of Inkheart.
Well, no, first he gives her The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Oh,
And this is where I thought this movie was about to get a little dicey.
oh no.
Oh, I didn't even notice that
Because he gives her
happened.
a copy of
This is where I was starting to be on
Huckleberry
my phone.
Finn. And she's just like, and Huck said to Jim, "Look at our raft." And I'm like, all right, let's tread very carefully, Maggie. Let's think about this before we read some words and summon some people. Because we all know what happens in that book.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah.
But they didn't go there.
They didn't.
Which was for the
because the
best.
raft does appear.
The raft appears.
And I was very nervous that someone was going to crawl out of that raft.
No, but no.
And I didn't think they were going to say the word. But I was like, that character's appearance here.
Yeah, it's
Would just be very
enough.
dicey.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Wait, I have a question.
I have an answer.
So you know
Maybe.
the old lady who has the box with Inkheart in it, and then the
Yeah.
snakes come out, whatever. In the books, that's Capricorn's mom. Do they ever specify that in the movie?
No.
Okay.
They never say that.
I can't
That's
remember.
cool, though. I like that.
That's Capricorn's got mommy issues and daddy issues. We love a villain with mommy issues.
We do love a villain with mommy issues.
Anyways, I couldn't remember if they like specified that or if they even hinted at it.
I
but-
went to go see Beau is Afraid a few days ago.
Oh, how was that?
It is the most mommy issue movie I've ever seen in my life.
Is the most what?
The mommy issue movie. It's a
oh.
movie all about mommy issues. It's
In
basically
a
like,
good way or a bad
it's a
way?
grand epic about a guy trying to get home to his mom's house.
Got it. Did you like it?
I really liked it. Becca did not.
Okay.
It's 3 hours long, and it's mostly just Joaquin Phoenix finding himself in really high anxiety situations.
Got it.
But I liked it.
Okay. Anyways.
So Capricorn makes her summon the raft, and then he's like, "You're gonna read and summon the shadow."
Yeah, that whole bit was like they make her read from a lot of things because there's like the sword and the stone in there.
Oh yeah.
There's like a few other things. They just have her read from multiple books, but yeah, then they reveal the Inkheart book.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're gonna read
The
and
shadow.
get the shadow out
Has the shadow been mentioned at all in the movie before?
early.
this? Okay.
Yeah, early.
It's funny that the next 20 minutes of this movie are basically like a Benny Hill skit.
Oh my god.
Mo, Dustfinger, and Fareed just like bumbling around this castle,
Getting
accomplishing
captured,
nothing.
getting out, getting recaptured, getting out.
I think Dustfinger maybe gets captured 3 times.
Dead ass. Yeah.
It's brutal.
And so I have Dustfinger getting captured. Maggie. Oh, and then one of the things we missed was when Capricorn tells Maggie to read, she says no. Oh, well, let me tell you how to treat my prisoners. Capricorn, I don't think Capricorn knows that he's showing Maggie her mom. He's just showing her, like, this is how I treat my prisoners.
Yeah.
But then she sees it. It's Risa. And she's like, Mom!
Yeah.
It's like, oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, that revealed Risa's back.
Yeah.
Then I wrote, my next note I wrote down is, okay, ... The third act of this movie drags in all caps.
Yes. Because it's just them running
It's
around.
so boring.
Nothing happened.
I will say I was like just on my phone.
Yeah.
Just like every once in a while looking up. I was like, I'm so bored.
You
This
can
is
fully skim to the end now.
Well, I was literally, because my next note after that is the ceremony scene.
Yeah.
Like, which is the last 10 minutes of the movie.
yeah.
They make this whole big production out of Maggie reading the shadow out of the book.
What's different from her doing it at the ceremony scene than just doing it right then and
Yeah.
there at the fucking throne
Yeah.
room?
Yeah.
There's no difference.
Yeah.
And so he's holding like Finoglio.
And wait, okay, so in the movie, because again now I stopped paying attention, like he just wants her to read the shadow out. There's not like a specific, okay, because he's like in the books he's like, well, he wants her to read it out out anyways. Also, the shadow in the books, I don't feel like they specify this in the movie too. It's like it's kind of like a Peter Pan sort, which like there's a lot of Peter Pan things going on in the book, but it's like sort of like, you know, a Peter Pan shadow kind of like thing, like it's his shadow. But anyways, yes,
That's interesting because this is just a monster.
it's just a
cloud
monster.
monster,
It's like
yeah.
it's like his shadow.
Interesting.
It's like a version of him that has like no, like absolutely no feeling, so it can just like be as like terrible. But he's like, yeah, we're gonna do this. Like the reason it's a whole production is because he's like, we're gonna have the shadow like kill Dustfinger and
Finoglio
and Risa.
Finoglio.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, and he's like, and everybody's gonna come to watch. It's like execution. He wants like a big show out of it. He's like, we're gonna like do an execution basically, and the shadow's gonna do it, and we gotta get everybody. We gotta figure out everybody's schedules, make sure all my henchmen can be there on top. You know, like
it's got to be Friday at 6
Right,
p.m.
like, there's, like, a
Daylight
whole,
savings
like,
time was yesterday, so
there's
we
a
have to
whole
adjust.
Yes, so that's like the reason.
Yeah.
that it is. Also, like when she. So you know, I was saying earlier about how like she doesn't really give a shit about finding her mom, right?
Yeah.
So that actually when she like sees her mom, which it's because again there's so many things that are different, but like they both end up like captured together and they're like there, and so it's like when she realizes it's her mom, it's actually like such a beautiful scene because it's like this whole time she's like been like, oh, I don't care, and then she like realizes it's her mom, and it's like it's just so, and she like her mom like writes her this thing that's like, you know, like you're more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. I've thought of you every day. Like I've celebrated every single one of your birthdays or something. And it's just like, so like, it gets me every time. It's so beautiful because like, she didn't think that she cared. And then like, she's there with her. And like, now it's like, it's my mom. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, now it's my mom. Fuck. I found her. And now like, I do realize that I love her and she's going to die.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like really beautiful. But in the movie, you're just like, okay.
In the movie, she's just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mom.
And she's got that thing on her head. I didn't know what was happening with that.
Yeah. But
It was like the Jacob Marley like bit.
Yes. I was like, what? Yes. I was like, what is going on here? It's so
Marley.
distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had this thought when they were gonna like kill Finoglio, and I knew right away it wasn't correct because like they bring back creatures from dead authors all the time.
Yeah.
But I thought like if they kill the author, does that kill them all too?
Oh, that's actually a really good point because that's something they say to convince them to not kill him. He tells them that, Finoglio in the books. He's like, if you kill me, like you're gonna kill yourselves. And like they're like kind of half at, but like they're like too scared to do it. So they actually decide not to kill him then.
Yeah.
So he does pull that.
Yeah, like
he pulls that card out.
That would have been a little interesting in the movie if like if you kill me, like what's to say that doesn't kill you all too?
Yeah, and you know, Boss does like that meme where it's like all the math up above, like trying to figure out if that's true. He's like,
bet not.
probably not a good idea.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. So.
So they do the ceremony scene. They make Maggie read from the thing, Inkheart. Eleanor shows up and frees the stable creatures, the the monkeys, the unicorn,
And the lions,
the
and the tigers, and the bears.
Oh my.
Hey, there we go.
Hey!
As that's all happening, Dustfinger and Fareed are somewhere. Brendan Fraser is somewhere. Lots going on.
So much. So many moving pieces.
She unleashes the shadow, but then they come up with this idea in prison of like, what if we rewrite something so like we make the shadow do something else?
Which again, Maggie does not like. That's another thing that they make Maggie come up with. Maggie's ass does not come up with that. That's Mo and Finoglio figure that out together. And anyways, so Maggie has no part of that. She's 12 years old.
Yeah,
She doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
she's a genius.
I guess so.
Genius.
She's a genius.
And so she starts reading the new passage, and then a little fight breaks out. Mo storms in. It's like, don't read from the book. And then like a ghastly ghoul sound appears, and then Emotep rises from the grave.
It basically is the same thing.
And so eventually, and then she runs out of the pages, something happened. Capricorn gets a page or something like that. And then she's like, and then Finoglio's like, write it yourself or something. And this is like, in the movie's head, this is the scene that's supposed to get us all pumped up. It's like, she's writing her own story. Yeah. And it's like, she's like, and then the shadow, blah, 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 blah.
I mean, I was literally more excited when you were writing the thing about Jeff, like,
Yeah.
to get Jeff back.
And it was so like, and then the shadow, like, and then she basically end games everybody.
Yeah.
She's like, and I am Maggie.
And everyone fades.
Snaps.
Yeah.
And they all fade away. The shadow goes away. Her mom can speak again. I totally
Which is not true. Her mom cannot speak again at the end of the book.
Really?
No.
This
She's
is all so silly.
She's still mute.
Damn.
Eleanor at one point storms in on a unicorn.
Yes.
I don't think we said that.
That was a fun.
She doesn't do
little
anything.
added.
Yeah, she doesn't do anything. She just
Yeah,
runs into a
nothing
unicorn like,
happens. Great.
It's funny just to see Helen Mirren storm in on a unicorn and scream and then do nothing.
Yeah.
All while that's happening, when she's reading everybody back into the book, Dustfinger and Frieda are late.
Yeah, and they miss it.
So ask us, dear audience, why don't they get to put the book? Because they're late.
They aren't present in the space. But she just says all creatures. Is there like a radius?
There's a spell radius that you have to adhere to, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's not what happens in the book, so I don't know.
And then Dustfinger and Frieda are like, they walk away sadly.
Yeah.
And then Mo chases them down. He's like, hey!
We're going to read you back into the book.
Yeah. And then he's like, you go back in the book.
Does that happen? Dustfinger does not end up. I don't know in the other books. In the other books, because I haven't read them. But at the end of the first one, he does not end up back in the book.
Wow.
I'm looking up Inkspell right now.
Yeah, I would assume at the end. Well, I'm pretty sure in the second book, Maggie ends up in Inkspell.
Whoa.
Or Inkheart, I'm sorry, in Inkheart. Yeah. But yeah, Dustfinger at the end of the book, nope. He's still out there.
So when the Inkheart came out,
yeah,
it wasn't a book about a book within a book called Inkspell. It was still Inkheart.
Inkheart, yeah.
There wasn't like in the world of the of the book. There
No.
wasn't a sequel to Inkheart called Inkspell.
Not that I.
Okay.
Not that I
Just
know.
one book.
Well, in Inkheart, no, Inkspell's never mentioned. There's no sequels mentioned.
Okay.
And I don't think. I mean, I would assume that we would have heard from the author if it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, and the sequels.
There are
No.
sequels.
There are
And the
sequels.
sequels.
Yeah.
I'm reading the plot of the sequel right now.
Something that bothers me about this whole thing in general, both the book and the movie, is like, you would think if people get read into these books, like, then when you read the books, wouldn't the books change? That bothers me. I think the book should change when you
Right.
read it again.
Yeah.
Like, if Dustfinger's not in the book anymore, then, like,
If you read the crocodile out of Peter Pan, does that
It's like-
mean crocodile's not in Peter Pan anymore?
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But that never happens. Anyways, that's just a little
Fareed
note for me.
Fareed opts to stay
Yes.
with the group
Yeah.
to in layman's term, and like just to make it very simple and blunt, he wants to fuck Maggie.
He wants to fuck Maggie. He's got a
And
little.
folks,
He's got a little crush.
Let me tell you.
Yes.
In Inkspell,
Yeah.
they fuck.
Oh, what?
Maggie and Fareed.
A 12-year-old?
Good for them.
It seems like Inkspell is very much set in the ink world.
Yeah,
unquote,
'cause
with a lot of lore about like the ink world being like this fantasy realm,
got it.
which seems maybe a little silly.
It seems that's why
Yeah.
like the book ends. I mean, poor Dustfinger is like, didn't get back, but like the first book ends like it could just stand alone. There's not like a what's the why can't I think? There's not a cliffhanger. There's not something like you're really waiting for. Like it ends like you're like
I think what was
Cornelia
Cornelia.
Funk.
I think she wrote the books after the movie came out.
No, they came out before. The
Really?
Sequels, yeah.
The sequels came out before the movie?
Yep. The sequels came out in 2005 and 2007.
And the movie came out in 2008.
8.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
What I read was incorrect then.
Just so our listeners know what happens to Farid, he actually goes with Dustfinger because
Yeah.
they're besties in the. I don't
Yeah.
feel like their bestiness was portrayed well enough in the movie, but in the books they're like, well, Farid is like, you're my dad now. I follow you everywhere, and Dustfinger's like,
cute.
bro, get away from me, but also I love you. So they like go off together. But Dustfinger is like, don't you want to fuck Maggie? Like, don't you want to stay? Like, I thought you wanted to fuck
He's
Maggie.
like, when she's legal.
Yeah, he's like, in a couple years, I'll come back and I'll fuck Maggie. So they leave together, and then the rest of the family goes to live with Eleanor. They stay in the house with Eleanor in Italy. That's how it ends.
And the movie just has like such a boring, like it just ends suddenly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, is that the last scene? It's like him. It's like Dustfinger, right? Is the last scene?
Yeah,
of
the last
him
scene is Dustfinger
running to his wife.
Yeah, and a wide shot because I guess Jennifer Connelly was not available that day.
Yeah, that's right. Or do we go and see the rest of the family, or is that
that's
the
it.
last scene?
That is the last scene.
I'm looking at Cornelia Funk's Wikipedia page right now, and it says often referred to as the German J.K. Rowling, which like seems like a threat now.
Ooh,
A
yikes!
German
What else
J.K.
is-
Rowling?
What else has she done?
Yikes.
The Dragon Rider series, the Mirror World series.
Oh wait! Oh my God, that's her.
Mirror World or Dragon Rider?
No, the Mirror World series.
Reckless is the first.
Oh,
one.
I was thinking of something different. Never mind. I don't care about these. I don't know these books. I was thinking of something different.
But it's like the thing that's interesting to me about this story is like the idea of the summoning fictional characters out of a book.
Yeah.
I'm like not like reading the idea for the sequel, like the idea of an ink world where it's like a different society within like the connected realm of books.
Yeah.
Doesn't really seem like that
wait.
interesting.
I
It
thought-
doesn't seem interesting to me too. That's why, like, yeah, the sequels are
Sorry,
never.
I thought you meant like they go into Inkheart the book and they live in the world that is Inkheart. You mean Ink World as in a total different like dimension entirely where it connects all the books.
That seems to be what it is implying here.
Boring.
Boring.
The White Woman, the Ink World's Angels of Death.
The White Woman. Ooh, okay. Yeah, guys, Inkheart, not a good movie.
Boring.
Not a good movie. Pretty good book. It's a fun book. Not a good movie.
Paul
Yeah.
Bettany was okay.
Yes,
Paul
he
Bettany
was
was
the
okay.
best.
So there's
I think.
some good casts.
I thought it wasn't completely accurate, but I thought he captured the energy of the character
Yeah.
probably the best.
Paul Bettany, good. Andy Serkis, good.
Good.
Jim
yeah.
Broadbent, Academy Award nomination.
Very sad that Fraser is kind of like the sleeper in this
He's
movie.
so boring.
He's really
Him
bad
and
in this.
Maggie give nothing.
Like I will say this is maybe the first movie where I thought Fraser is like bad with a capital B. And this is a tough time at his
Can
life.
I say one good thing?
Yes.
I thought his hair looked cute.
His hair does look cute.
I really like that haircut. While I was
Stuart-
watching it, I said, Beth, should I cut my hair like that?
You know, we haven't done a hair ranking in like 2 months.
I literally
I
gave
know.
you-
I'm just saying
I
we haven't
gave
done
you-
it. I'm not saying we're going to do it. I'm just saying we haven't done it.
I'm sorry to bring up hair, Stuart.
It's a sore subject.
I'm
yeah, I
re-
think we're
I'm re-
done. I think we're done with it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
all I'm saying is
we're
I
done
thought
with
his
the
hair
hair
was cute in the
ranking.
movie. That's it. We can just end it there.
Yeah.
Now I have to go on a fucking apology tour, Jeff.
Yeah, you
and-
you do have to go on the apology tour, and I'm putting you on it. So this movie comes out December.
I have to crank these episodes out at a slightly quick rate.
Yeah.
And it brings the edit time down. And
Yeah.
part of like splicing the audio, putting in like theme music, putting in blah, 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 blah. I just don't have time.
No, that's fair.
This
I
is-
wasn't trying to get into hair ranking.
No, no.
That was the only positive thing I had to say.
I know. I'm
sorry.
I feel bad about it.
No, you shouldn't
And it's
feel
a
bad
sore
about it.
subject
You
for
shouldn't feel
mine
bad
that
about it.
I've ignored it.
So
Stuart.
It was my baby at Travolting, and I've let it slide.
yeah.
But I feel like never mind. No more hair talk. Hair's done.
Yeah, that was a hairy conversation.
I think you need next person that you do needs to be bald.
Bald, or we need to find a new thing.
the next person we have has a lot of hair.
We need to find a
Jeff, find a new thing.
Well,
Do you know him?
right. We need to find like the sweaty palm ranking or something. Or like the eyebrows ranking or something. If we're
Ooh,
doing Will
eyebrows.
Poulter ever, we can do the eyebrows ranking.
Eyebrows would be fun.
Yeah.
I love eyebrows.
So this movie comes out January 23rd, 2009 in the U.S. It is released overseas in December of 2008.
Yeah.
It comes out not a success.
Shocker.
Yeah.
It opens number 7 at the box office for its
Ooh.
opening weekend.
Brutal.
Yikes.
What was number 1?
Oh,
What was number 1 through 6, actually?
Let's find out
what
what-
beat it.
U.S. box office January 23rd. I'm going to tell you right now, Avatar is number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, God,
true.
not
It is
Avatar.
2009.
What were you just watching, Jeff, that I don't know if you tweeted it or you put it somewhere where you were like, this whole time I was just thinking about Avatar.
God, what was that movie? I just did watch something where the whole time I was thinking about Avatar. It was Moana.
Oh, my God.
I said good movie and all, but the whole time I'm watching it now, I keep thinking, what if the Na'vi were here, and what
Jesus
if I was
Christ.
watching The Way of Water?
That was so disrespectful.
I
to
also
Moana.
did a review of Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. A double feature of this and Way of Water would be a whale of a good time, because they're both movies about whales.
And yet-
I will take
yet-
my Academy Award on the way out.
And yet, not a lot of good feelings on the actual whale movie, The Whale.
Yeah.
You
Whale,
like
not
The
so
Whale.
good. Not so great.
Do you not like The Whale?
No.
I'm like a whale defender here.
Stuart's the only
Well,
whale.
I haven't seen it. I just,
Oh.
all my fat friends were like, bad. Fat phobic. I'm sure he's
So-
good in it.
He is good in it. I don't really care for the movie that much.
And I heard What's Her Face was so bad. in
Oh,
it.
Say Sing is awful on that movie. She's like, walks in every scene is like, I'm gonna kill my dad. It's crazy. So I forgot. Avatar comes out December of 2009 and would be in January of 2010. Number 1 is a lot funnier.
Okay, what is it?
Number 1 at the box office the weekend that Inkheart opens is Paul Blart Mall Cop.
No! I'm so glad I asked. That's
In
so
its-
funny.
In its second weekend, Paul Blart Mall
Kevin
Cop.
James.
That's so
toppling Brendan
funny.
Fraser.
I love it.
That is so funny.
Number 2 at the box office is Underworld 3: Rise of the Lycans.
I don't know what that is.
Number 3 is Gran Torino, Clint Eastwood's movie about shooting people off his lawn.
Okay, not good.
Number 4 is Hotel for Dogs. Number 5 is Slumdog Millionaire in its 11th week, still making a lot of money. Number 6, My Bloody Valentine, and then number 7, Inkheart.
That's pretty
That is
brutal.
brutal.
That's
Paul Blart
really embarrassing.
absolutely bodying
That's really sad.
Mo and Finogly.
It's really sad.
It's a lot funnier than Avatar. This movie overall makes $17 million in the United States, $45 million internationally on a $60 million budget. So it loses a lot of money. It is a pretty decent DVD seller. It makes $8 million in DVDs.
That's interesting.
And then it overall gets poor reviews. Heavy on cliches and light on charm.
Yes.
The Hollywood Reporter, whatever made this German novel Inkheart by Cornelia Funke so popular that it got translated into 37 languages is nowhere to be evidence in the film version.
Yes, I agree.
I like this review from the Arizona Republic. Inkheart is entertaining enough, if not always easy to follow. And if it does nothing else, it at least may inspire kids to read, if for no other reason than to make sense of it. Brutal. That's the extent of it. It comes out as a flop, big time. It's the final nail in the coffin for Fraser's career, successful career at this time.
Yikes.
They're never giving him the lead of a movie like this again.
Do you think he resents Cornelia?
I don't think so, if only because he seems, number one, like a kind man. Number two, he would not have gotten this shot if it wasn't for her.
Yeah.
And he is getting divorced as this movie is being made, so I'm sure he appreciated the paycheck.
That's fair. That's fair. Oof. Do we think? Okay, so I'm not. Not that I'm not a fan. I don't have a. I don't have a good working knowledge of his work. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of only seen the hits. But it seems like you guys, Jeff, I heard you say like this is the first movie so far where you were like, wow, he was just bad in this. Do you think it was just like bad cast? I mean, we said earlier it was bad casting, but like, do you think there's a way he could have played this differently? Or do you think it's just like it's just not a role for him?
I think it's not a role for him at this time. It doesn't play to his strengths. I think there's a way he could be good in this.
Yeah.
It would require a stronger director.
Yeah.
And it would have to come at a better time in his life.
Yeah.
Because coming right now, like, I just think he's very emotionally strapped.
And this, what was this director's name?
Ian Softly.
This guy's not going to do it. He's not pulling the performance out of him.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, you know what, if the director was an asshole, this man's probably too nice of a person. I mean, I actually think he could have really pulled it out of him and been like, your wife.
You're not doing it. Come on, man.
Yeah. Or also just like, shit's going on in your life. Think about what's going on in Mortimer's life.
Mo's life.
Use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that. Which, not that I'm saying he should have for fucking Inkheart. Don't traumatize Brendan. But
well, one thing that a small point that I wanted to make with this is, I agree, Jeff. I was not wowed at all by his performance, and I also kind of agreed. It's like, when I think of like bad performances for Brendan Fraser, it's hard because like there are some movies where you'll watch it and you're like, the fuck is he doing? But he is like going for it.
yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm thinking about
Jeff, what are you doing? Stuart's trying to talk.
No,
right
I'm
now.
listening to
he
Stuart.
does this a lot.
Okay.
I'm pulling something
kinda
up. This is
rude, but
important.
Whatever.
But
Okay.
like you watch movies like Bedazzled or Monkey Bone, where he's got to go way out the deep end somewhere, and it either catches or it doesn't catch with the audience. I think for some of the movies, I was like, that didn't catch with me, but it caught with other people. Blast from the Past. I mean, good role, but only in the sense that it was a risk that he kind of, he really tossed that life preserver out there and hope for the best. I think there are a lot of movies where he just kind of like shoots a shot for the performance. Like, what if I play it like this? And it's a risk, but it works and it pays off. This is like the least risk taking.
He's doing
role.
nothing.
He's doing nothing.
He's giving nothing. He did not try. I would have. I would have enjoyed it more if he tried and it was just raw. Because I actually think there's a lot of performances in here that I feel like were so incorrect, but also like they tried.
They had a take.
They did something. They had a take. They had a point of view. But Brendan just said no.
Yeah, because Jeff,
just doing nothing.
A recent movie that we covered that as soon as you said like this is like the worst performance, like I thought about the movie The Air I Breathe.
Yeah.
Where he plays like this rugged like mob enforcer guy. Where he's gonna like beat people up. He also has superpowers. You can see the future, but that's not important.
Wow, much happening.
Yeah. And I think we both agreed it's like this doesn't feel like a Fraser role.
It doesn't really work, but he's trying.
He's trying, but it's like it feels like it's just not written for him.
Yeah.
This is written for like a really grizzled.
I said John Travolta would have been good for it.
John Travolta
was my big take.
Might have been interesting.
That was my big take.
Might have been interesting.
Okay.
But I think there's a key difference that I feel very comfortable to say that this is like probably the first film I've ever seen Fraser just not give any effort into.
Yeah. He's asleep at the wheel here.
And it's sad to watch. It's very sad to watch because
he's given absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Like at least like in his bad performances in the past, they were bad performances because like either they weren't quite written for him.
Yeah.
Or he goes really far out, balls to the wall, and just doesn't hit the mark.
Yeah, but he
goes for it.
Yeah, there were no balls to any wall. The balls were drooping.
The balls were full of hot gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really absolutely giving nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real sad. I think that's all I gotta say.
That's all I gotta say.
That's all I gotta say.
Anyone got any more thoughts on Inkheart?
the book.
So what do you say?
Read the
We
book.
get this all in blood, or ink?
Oh, the thing I was looking up while you were talking there is on the Wikipedia, it does emphasize that there was a Nintendo DS game released for this movie.
Yes, there is a video game.
And I was looking at... It looks like the worst video game I've ever seen in my life.
It looks really bad.
We're getting an affirmation from the Peanut
It looks
Gallery.
really bad. Yeah.
Like it looks like it's all touchscreen, and you just like select books.
Okay.
Okay.
Like, what is this?
I don't know. Jeff, if you could read anybody out of a book, who would you read out of a book? Okay, a fictional character.
A fictional character.
Fictional character.
Fictional character.
Fictional character.
Fictional character.
God, I don't want to read anyone out of my favorite books because they're all like terrible people. Or not like terrible people, but they would not thrive in this world.
He's looking at Heat 2.
I kind of am looking at Heat 2. I like that you thought of Heat 2, even though it's not on the shelf.
Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah.
Honestly...
As you see the Adventures of Indiana Jones. Bring Harrison Ford, but as Indiana.
No, I mean, I'd talk to someone from Lord of the Rings, bro. I'd bring Gandalf out. He could give me some knowledge, make me feel better about my place in this world.
Cool. Who would you read in? Who are you replacing? Because it's
Stuart.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
I would agree. I would totally replace me with Gandalf too.
I would never.
But then you
I'd
get
want,
to go
I
in
want
Lord
us
of
both
the Rings.
to
It
talk
could be
to
fun.
Yeah.
I would just go next to some terrible person and summon them into the book. Make them fight the orcs.
Thank you, buddy.
No, not you. But like, I'd go to like some I'd go to some like terrible political rally and summon like some awful politician into the world of Lord of the Rings and then bring Gandalf in.
Mine's gonna be a little bit messed up and sadistic, and it's only because I want to see what happens. What if you brought Pennywise the Clown out into this world? Not to be my friend, not for me to talk to him.
Just kill a lot of people.
But like,
my
if I can
God,
populate
Stuart,
Pennywise into
no.
like the real world, what would the police investigation of that be
the
like?
thing is, Pennywise is from an alternate dimension in it.
Yeah.
So he's already jumped one. Actually, she. I forgot. Pennywise is a she. Important note.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, feminism.
The end of it, it establishes
Girl
that
boss.
Pennywise is a gaslight gatekeep girl boss.
She's all three.
Either Pennywise or Ned Stark, because I'm just seeing Game of Thrones.
Get him out of there before he dies.
Yeah, get him out of there before he dies. Like, your whole family's about to be slaughtered, boy.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
I changed my answer to Ned Stark.
Okay.
MG, what about you?
Ned Stark. Probably Remus Lupin. I'm sorry. I hate J.K. Rowling, but Remus Lupin's my favorite character of all time. So
Good guy.
good guy. Beth thinks I would, if Remus Lupin was real, I would divorce them. But
Oh yeah.
but I said that I think we could be in a poly
Look,
relationship.
Becca and I are on a very open terms that if Harrison Ford ever walks in this apartment, it's over.
For who? Becca breaking up with you, or you breaking up with Becca?
Me breaking up with Becca, clearly. And me and Harrison are going to go off.
Do you think you could work it out, the three of you? Or you don't
I
want to share
I don't
Harrison?
think he's about that life.
Oh, I was thinking you didn't want to share Harrison.
I don't think he's about that life. I'd share him gladly, but I don't think he's about that life. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
That was my... One day we will do the Ford Fiesta show.
The Ford? Did you just pull that out of your ass?
That's what... No, I've had that in my mind for a while. But it'd be called Ford Fiesta. We would talk about all of Harrison Ford's movies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening. Please remember, tune in next week. Trying to remember how I do this. Tune in next week for our episode on Fairly Odd Parents Wishology. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As a reminder, we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube, as well as Amazon Music and several other places. You can pop into our Reddit, r/Travolting. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at TravoltingPod. Find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney.
Narg.
Anything you want to plug?
If any parents are here, I'm doing story time at City Lit Books on May 13th at 10:30 in the morning. And if we got any people who want to join a book club, I also do a book club at City Lit. So
Very nice.
Very nice.
any Inkheart fans,
Ink stands.
Ink stands, We're not reading Inkheart for the book club, though, just to be clear. We are reading True Biz by Sarah Novick.
True Biz.
True Biz.
I like that title. Yeah, and trollteampodcast@gmail.com. I didn't say that. And as always, special thanks to Rebecca Johnson for graphic design, Michael Van Bodingham Smith for our theme music, and Ange Gardner for our social media. Have a great